Estate Income Group is listed on the CEMDEX in Mauritius and now the LSE, and 40% of its share register is owned by pension funds. So it understands the importance of networking with pension funds and enhancing the education process around alternative investments on the African continent, which real estate is very much a part of. CEO of Grit, Bronwyn Knight, joins me now. Thanks so much, Bronwyn, for your time this evening. So for any investor, backing alternative investments on the African continent is often perceived to be risky business. What's the risk reality as far as real estate investments are concerned, and how are those being mitigated for pension funds?
So just to really explain the diversification, under the Grit portfolio, we have a diversification of asset classes, and we've seen those to be exceptionally resilient. And that means the likes of corporate accommodation, light industrial, so sector, multi-geography. We have exposure into North Africa, Morocco, West Africa, East Africa, and obviously Southern Africa, ex-South Africa. And just that diversification strategy across the African continent builds up resilience and therefore mitigates a lot of the perceived risk around real estate and what the pension funds might perceive to be riskier assets.
Yeah. Bronwyn, how do you see the real estate investment market adapting post-pandemic? And I ask because, for one, Grit's listing on the LSE has now placed it on the radar of UK investors for the first time. And you say that it's going to enable Grit to make acquisitions, partner with other landlords across the African continent. And one wonders whether consolidation is going to be a part of the commercial property game for a while yet.
So I think it's exactly that. So I think the diversification and the access to equities markets out of developed money. So what's happened with the pandemic is you've seen developed money not finding a place of growth and being hindered around where to invest their money from a growth perspective. And Africa is definitively the place to go. So having the LSE listing and the premium listing in London gives the bridge for these developed market investors to actually put money behind Africa. And for us, the access to additional capital, definitively sector consolidation becomes so important. So having size, having diversification, geographic asset class, as I've mentioned earlier, becomes so imperative for risk mitigation. So it's so important, as I've mentioned, is that from a perception perspective and being able to partner with strong tenants that are really agnostic to a lot of the African risks. So the embassies, a lot of the big international players that have to be in Africa to become their real estate partners of choice makes absolute sense for a real estate platform across the continent.
Let's leave it there, Bronwyn. Thanks so much for having joined us this evening. Bronwyn Knight is CEO of Grit Real Estate Income Fund and, of course, anchor sponsor of the 4th Annual Pension Funds and Alternative Investments Africa Conference that kicks off in March.